welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs and Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs such as Sumit, Seth. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
You are and I don't want to use the word, like a serial entrepreneur, but you are a man that creates companies. And your latest venture is called namely.com.
That is correct.
Tell us about that latest venture first, and then we'll go into a little bit of the past.
Fair enough. So, Namely is a word-of-mouth platform. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create this individual personalized brand for service professionals. It really started from a simple hypothesis we had. You hear people say, it's all about the people. People like to do business with the people. But if you look around, everything sticks with the business, the reputation, the reviews. You have Foursquares, you have Yelp, and it's very helpful for the individual customer to find restaurants and things like that. But we were trying to disrupt that. We're like, what about the person behind the business? The person who really puts in the hard effort, the work, and is really the reason for the business's thriving.
Right.
So why don't we honor them? And that's how Namely was born. We wanted to correct that anomaly in the marketplace. And and as a starting point, we're trying to focus on service professionals in the health and wellness space.
Yoga teachers, personal trainers,
fantastic,
hairstylists.
Yes, it seems like yes, exactly.
That type of service
exactly,
professional.
because we realize in the continuum of spectrum, you have white collar people who are available on LinkedIn.
Sure.
So LinkedIn was great in lifting the corporate veil, so now you have access to the people, but
right.
It doesn't let you cater to your personal reputation, right? But they're the service professionals who are working really, really hard. They're not exempt employees. Most of them are on an hourly basis. They get a lot of money through tips or commissions or bonuses like that. And so they put in all this effort, and they might be moving around industries. They might travel from one location to the other. So we're like, nothing sticks with them. How crazy is that? And as a customer, you don't know whom to go to. But in real life, you ask someone, where should I go? Do you know of someone? But in virtual life, you're stuck with going to the business, and then the business connects you with the professional.
Right. Just now I got exactly what Namely is about. So in other words, the actual individual that provides the service becomes the brand.
Correct.
Joe Smith is the brand.
Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to do, because he or she is the brand, and I think the trends are getting there. The market has matured to that level where customers are very review-centric. They want to know what other customers are talking about. They want to be very cognizant about whom they take services from.
Right.
And reviews are now mainstream. It's just beginning to hit the personal space, the personalized industry. So we want to be there. We want to be in that space, and that's why Namely.
And so the individual that goes to, XYZ hairstylist, they go to that particular brick and mortar, but behind it are the service professionals who actually do your hair or do your, wax your eyebrows, whatever the service that they provide. And
correct.
So those people are the ones that you're going to promote.
Absolutely.
How does the owner of the brick and mortar feel about it, though?
Oh, that's been an amazing journey so far. So we've got a lot of people closing their doors on us because they realize it could really disrupt them. Like, they've been good people too. I mean, we have a mixed bag. Initially when we spoke to them, some of them loved the idea because from them, one of the services we want to eventually offer is talent solutions so that business owners can reach out to these professionals and bring them on board. And they love that. They're like, wow, yeah, because right now we struggle with that. We don't know how good or bad they are.
Right.
So that's awesome. And then their wheels start spinning, and they're like, oh, that means our own people would be there as well, and then others can get access to them too. So then they take a back seat, and that's exactly what we're trying to disrupt. We're like, let's show a respect to these people, or any person for that matter.
Right.
Treat them well so they won't leave you, right? And they are the reason behind your revenues and your increased profitability. I mean, so we want that mix. It's also good for the business, mind you. Like, if you have a great person in-house, he or she's going to attract that foot traffic into the business.
Correct.
Which will help the business too. But, so yeah, it's fun. It's a good journey so far.
It is interesting because I can see where the disruption is. However, as the fact that that independent contractor, that service professional, might not necessarily be permanent in that particular. In fact, I would imagine that the turnover and the transitory aspect of the service professional that hops around from one business to another business to eventually, I want to have my own shop at some point in time. I mean, that is the dream of the service professional, correct? I mean, you don't want to work for somebody else the rest of your life.
Actually, you'd be surprised. You know, we went with that thought process too, and we've been going out talking with a lot of professionals. We also used to think that way. But there are a lot of professionals who do not want to have their own business. They're just trying to find their right home where they feel comfortable. And running a business, like, you know, takes a lot of things.
Sure.
It's just not about, hey, I'm great and I can make a great living out of it. It's so much more that comes to it. And a lot of people want to do that. But they do move around from one place to the other, just like any white collar person would, because they're looking for that challenge. They're looking for,
I was going to say, and that's where Namely would come into play, because now you have a following and people will know where to find you.
Correct. And that's what we wanted to be.
Okay.
And so we aspire to become this largest online portal where everyone's there. Like, it's just the one-stop shop. It's like, you're there. You're there, your reputation is there, you know who that person is, what he's done, and what others have to talk about.
That's cool, and that it would seem tantamount as a very good waiter or waitress handing out his or her business card to the table that they're serving. Not that they're going to be waiter or waitresses for the rest of their life, but next time you come here, ask for me.
Right. So, yes, it could eventually go that route, but as a starting point, we're really focusing only on the health and wellness space,
Sure.
Just because we think the customer needs to go to the business because of that professional.
Sure.
Now, using that waiter example, the chances are that you're not going to go to a restaurant just because your service was awesome. A lot of other things need to happen.
Right,
the food needs to be great,
Sure,
and that kind of thing. So, but from a conceptual perspective, the thought that you bring up is very, very true.
You've had other companies that you've created and exited.
I did, yes. So the company before this was a staffing company, and that's why the talent angle has to be brought into, namely, and I exited that company after being with it for 10 years, and God's been very kind. We grew that company to $100 million in revenue, and but we had a partner fallout. It just took me some time to get over that piece, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I just wasn't happy.
We've interviewed a lot of divorce attorneys. So
Okay.
if you
No, it was good. It was a good exit in the end. It was still a good exit. We're still friends. We're good. It's just, I think the funny thing happens is we all want the good thing for our business. It's like bringing up your kid. You have a husband, you have a wife. Yeah. Everyone wants to bring up the kid,
Yep. And
they believe their way is the best way. And there's nothing wrong in it, right? But I think after a point in time, if you don't gel and you start doubting that, I think if you don't have trust, and I think I lost my trust in all honesty in terms of where we were headed. Like for the earliest part of the years, we were like, just focus, relentless execution.
Yep.
We were all together.
Yep.
And a lot of things fell in our place. Like, yes, everyone works hard. We were working hard too, but we grew, and the trends were behind us.
Painful.
Yeah, it was painful. It was very tough for me to take that step to say, I'm going to let go, because there was a time where I come from a very humble, modest background, and I never anticipated I would ever see that kind of money. But now, having done all that work, having moved from being in the business to being now on the business, running about it, having people around you, I had an executive assistant, I had people, I was reviewing stuff, perfect. And I was making a lot more money now, but I was not happy I was happy for the most part. The last couple of years was like, why were we doing that?
Not fulfilled.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah. And it was tough, it was challenging, and I spoke to a lot of good friends of mine, like, are you stupid? I mean, people go through ever to get where you are.
Right.
And now you can ride this, why don't you? And I'm like, yeah, but it took me like 6 to 9 months to come up with that decision.
Interesting.
To say, I can't do this. This is not me, and it's okay, and they'll be fine. And then I went through this phase of having these self-delimiting beliefs that was like, I'm not going to be successful again. I just got lucky. I really don't have any skills. And I mean, I just went through all that.
A lot of self-doubt.
A lot of self-doubt. And my wife was like, don't worry. Worst case, we'll go back and we'll work. I'm like, don't say that. I don't want to work here anymore. That's my worst nightmare. You know, I mean, you know.
I didn't know, please.
So, but I think had it not been for her, I would not have done what I did. And so we floated around for some time. I took a sabbatical. I took a break off. And this was the first time in my life I ever took a break. And I said,
Awesome.
It's okay. It'll come to me. I don't know. It'll come to me.
Quickly to wrap it up, because you're fascinating. We could be here all day. And you've been in different platforms and different businesses for a long time and so on. What is the one lesson that your journey as an entrepreneur, now in this very successful business that you exited with your partner, and now this particular business where you found something incredible, a niche, something that you're disrupting. What is the one thing that you would give somebody advice? One thing that you learned. What is it?
Ooh, now that's a tough thing. I don't think there is one thing. It's
The one that stands out in your head.
I think at different parts and times, there are different things that stick with you. So something that stuck with me 10 years ago doesn't stick with me any longer. So I think you outgrow, just like your old clothes and stuff. So I think I would say, and I'm a big believer in quotes, and I just believe just go out and do it. Just don't have any regrets, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I hope several years from now I can look back and say, yeah, I mean, there was potential that was realized as opposed to being a one-hit wonder. Because, and that's my fear. And fear drives you, but we'll see.
A lot of people would say, well, a $100 million company, that's a pretty good one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but it's history. It's behind. And the past is no reflection of the future.
The past is the past, and now you got a phenomenal industry, a phenomenal business in an incredible industry that I don't think anybody's really focused on.
Yeah, there are a lot of people focusing it from a different perspective. Like if you think about it, like there's Groupon, if you think about it. People post deals there, you're getting exposure to them. Right. So it really depends how you look at it.
But to honor the
yes.
professional work.
Yes, so the lens that we're trying to use is totally different. And we hope we make it big. We hope we really champion that cause. And we have fun doing it, and in the end, we also make a lot of money out of it. I mean, that's what we're trying to do.
You're a champion for the people. You sound like a socialist to me, but that's okay.
I want to be a social entrepreneur. I mean, I do want to leave a legacy that way.
I love it.
Thank you
So much.
Pleasure
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're out. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
We're out.